how to create the budget for your ultimate life. If you're looking for a budget where you don't have to track your spending because you hate budgeting and it's just too much work, but you want control of your money and you know that you need that control so you can steer your finances where you want to go, this type of budgeting, and actually it's not even budgeting, is exactly what you need. What am I talking about? Well, I'm going to give you the technique to be able to not have to budget and only use it sparingly and use something else instead. My name is Jackie Elias. I am the managing and program director at FutureBound, where we help you maximize your disposable income, maximize your home equity, so then you can maximize your passive income. And in this video, I am talking about how do you create a budget for your ultimate lifestyle, not just a budget for the day in and day out mundane life that maybe you find yourself in right now, the spinning your financial wheels, the just feeling like you're in a rat race, that you're never really going ahead. This is more for you if you are wanting to move your finances forward. You want to move your life into the lifestyle that you want, your dream lifestyle. How do I move my finances forward, and what type of budget do I need to do that? Well, what you need is actually not a budget. You need a spending plan. The difference between a budget and a spending plan is the budget looks at how much money I have now and what should I spend it on. But a spending plan says how much money will I have in the future before I even get paid, and I'm going to make an intentional plan as to where I want it to go. You allocate every dollar of the money that you're going to get, so then you can tell your money where you want to go. So with that understanding, when you have a spending plan, you will have a certain amount of money at a certain time in the future. However, you've already planned it and you already know how much you're going to have. And as long as you stick to that plan, which I'll give you some tips on how to do that, then you will be exactly where you plan to be, right? If I plan on going on a overseas holiday and spending $10,000, when I get to that date, because I planned it ahead, I have $10,000 and that is now my budget, but it's only because I planned it ahead that I know I have that when it's time to go. So how do you do that? The first thing you need to do is understand what your values are. There's no point in telling your money where you want it to go and you end up in a place you don't like, right? So you need to make sure that your money is reflective of the values that you have. If family is important, if spending quality time is important, if giving to your community is important, whatever is most important to you and what you value, that is how you need to set up your money to be able to give you more of those things, right? So your understanding what those values are is the very first step to being able to create a budget for your ultimate life. The next step is to define your ultimate life. What does this look like? Obviously, I know my values now. I've done step one. Now, what does that actually look like? How many times do we want to go on an overseas holiday? How many times do we want to not have to work so we can volunteer? Or I want to have a passion project that I want to work on. How many hours of work does that mean in my day job, and how many hours for my passion project? Is it totally 100% passion project, or is that, what is that? What does your ultimate life look like? So you understand where your money needs to be allocated so you can get yourself to there. So really defining with you and your partner what that looks like is very important in practical sense. Like, where do we want to live? Are we living in the house of our dreams? Do we want to be able to move to a different location? How much money will that be? Can we get approved for a loan right now? All of these kinds of things are discussions that you have about what you're wanting to do. Now, I suggest that if you're first starting, you're going to want to look at just what's the next year look like? What do we want to do for the next year? You can start talking about 5 years, 10 years down the line. That's really good. It's very aspirational to do those things. However, when you are putting it into dollars and cents, for right now, you're looking for the year. So you're going to plan out what is going to happen this next year. So I already know that my mother and my dad are coming to visit. They're going to Sydney. We're going on a cruise together. I planned ahead already. I have the money set aside for that. I know that my best friend is coming from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm sorry, she's in Houston now and coming here to Wellington to visit me. I've already planned for the money to be in my bank account for that at that time. So whatever it is that you're wanting to happen in that year, you plan it ahead of time. The next step is to know where you're starting now. So you need to understand what's happening with your money, right? So if you're going on a trip, you define where you want to go, which was our last step, but you also need to know where you are in relationship to where you want to go, right? So obviously if you're going to London, you're going to go a different direction if you're in Wellington versus if you're in, let's say, Phoenix, Arizona, where I'm from. Those are different directions that you're going to head. So, and how long you're going to travel and all of these things. So you need a better understanding of where you are now. The way to do that is to do a 3-month snapshot. Look at the last 3 months of your spending and to understand, where is it going? What categories of spending do I have? What are my spending habits? Am I spending more or less than what I thought I was in a particular category? Understanding the specifics about what you're doing is really important, but it also helps you to do the next step as well. Not only understanding, where you are in relation to where you want to go, but also what changes do you want to make so then you can end up where you want to go. The next step is to go ahead and plan your journey. Let's put together that spending plan that is going to give you that journey, that pathway to where you want to go. Now, sometimes 1 year is not enough time to plan exactly everything that you want to do. It might take a couple years of using your spending plan to get to an ultimate goal, for example, a 5-year goal or a 10-year goal. That is a-okay. However, you can do it by planning out 1 year at a time. So you're going to take all of your income and you're going to look at how much do I take home, and then you're going to then allocate every single dollar of how much your take-home pay is for the year into categories. You're going to split it up in needs, wants, savings, and giving. Now, there's a different video that's going to talk specifically on how to put together and use that type of spending plan. I call it the 50-20-20-10 money plan, and it is going to give you an easy way to allocate everything and making sure that you're enjoying your life today, but not robbing from your future tomorrow. You have a secure future tomorrow and a fun time today. And so check out that video if you want more specifics on how to make that 50-20-20-10 money plan. So the last thing you do, and this is not necessary, but this is the whole part of not being able to track your money. You don't have to track your money if you have a plan and if you automate that plan. So you're going to decide how many bank accounts you want to have. You're going to have multiple bank accounts and you're using account buckets. And so you're going to be able to allocate all of the money that is in your spending plan into those buckets, and you'll automatically, when the money comes into your, let's say, bills account, then you will automatically set up automated transfers for the money to fund your holiday account, your groceries account, your discretionary spending account, whatever bank accounts that you determine that you want to be able to give you the maximum amount of security and understanding what's happening with your money. The more buckets you have, the less tracking you have to do. So you can make sure you're at a bank where you can have as many bank accounts as you want, and you can be able to just look at your mobile app, banking app, so then you can see what's happening with your money. How much money do I have in my, let's say, my household account, where I want to buy new, I don't know, whatever it is, tea towels for the kitchen. I know I have money in there. I just recently bought some storage containers for my toddler because all of her markers and crayons and everything was getting out of hand. I pulled it from my household account and I knew I had some money in there. I could just go to the store to get what I need. And so that way you don't have to track, you know what your limits are, it's in the bank account, and you've already planned ahead for how much you might need. So that is how you use a spending plan instead of a budget. You don't really have to use budgets. Again, you don't have to track. And so if you really like this idea, and this is like something like, tell me more, come to our roadshow in May 2025. We're gonna be in Wellington, which is where we live, but we're also heading out to Auckland and we'll have an online version. So if you're not in Wellington or Auckland, join us online. They're all going to be live presentations where we go over the 3 steps to a proven process to mortgage and financial freedom, where we kind of pull out all of the information that we have, that we teach our clients. We have over 1,300 clients that are using the system today to get control of their money, pay down their mortgage faster, build that equity, skyrocket their equity so they can invest in property with little to no money down as a deposit. And so this is the system that is totally doable for you, and there are people using it now to continue to live the lifestyle of their dream, even though we might be in a recession. So join us at our roadshow, and I will see you there.